Hi, I'm George Lang, and this is a special edition of Weekend Look, your guide to entertainment news in Oklahoma City and the world. Heather Warlick is on assignment, and with me today is Brandy McDonnell, my colleague on the entertainment desk, and we're just going to have a freewheeling discussion about Tulsa's David Cook winning American Idol this week. Okay,
are we allowed to cheer during this freewheeling discussion?
Absolutely. This is not an objective discussion. It's
No.
absolutely subjective. And and in this case, I mean, this is a guy who has been, he's not from Tulsa, but he's, but he came here from Missouri several years ago and started working really hard in the Tulsa area bars and clubs, and and really honing his craft, and it paid off. It paid off in a big
time.
way.
I mean, you could definitely tell the level of experience that he had, the level of cool under pressure. I mean, he got hammered Tuesday during the performance segments. Particularly Simon Cowell was just unbelievably harsh, and actually apologized last night during the finale because he was on the verge of being disrespectful. I'm like, the verge? Are you sure you didn't pass over past verge into being disrespectful?
Right.
And David Cook did look grim at the end of Tuesday's performance episode, but he had just been hammered for all three of his performances, which were good performances. I mean, they were not bad performances.
I think that Cowell was trying to save face. He knew what had happened. He knew that his will had not been followed, and that the people were heard, and they overwhelmingly, because really a lot of these votes are pretty close. But this time, it was about a 56-44 win for David Cook.
12 million vote difference.
That's right. 97.5 million people voted.
Right.
But in this case, I feel like the people who were watching American Idol didn't want to give Simon what he really wanted. I've said this before. I'll say it now. Simon doesn't like rock and roll. He doesn't understand rock and roll, but he understands David Archuleta.
Right.
He understands as somebody who's more tuned to like the Great American Songbook, to Broadway. If you look at what Cowell does in his free time, he forms a pop opera group called Il Divo.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the kind of thing that I saw Archuleta ending up in.
Honestly, he is not a viable mainstream musician. He's just not.
No.
And that was apparent to everybody, but it didn't matter to Simon Cowell. I said, and put this on my blog after Tuesday's performance, that it seemed like there was a fix in going off of that wretched boxer theme that we had.
That's right.
Because just the way they were introduced, Ryan Seacrest introduced David Cook as a 25-year-old bartender and David Archuleta as a 17-year-old phenom. Bartender phenom.
There's a qualitative assessment in that when you say phenom, that is not there when you're saying bartender.
Here's some scruffy-faced bartender who happens to sing and play guitar. Here's a phenom.
And this bartender is beating up on that little boy.
Right. And I think that what's actually so stunning is that the only way I thought that David Cook would be able to win, I didn't think he could win, because look at them. Look at the two of them. You've got scruffy 25-year-old, deep voice bartender with his electric guitar standing next to a puppy, basically. 17-year-old, doe-eyed little kid. Because he's a kid. I mean, and it was going to be perceived, was my fear, that David Cook was beating up on this little boy. And the only way I think that you could have ever pulled something off is by having a bigger bully beat up on David Cook. And that's basically what happened, is that people came to Cook's aid because Simon Cowell beat up on him. Week after week, you would see David Archuleta at the top of the show, like it was foreordained, or it was just, an assumption. Oh, he's through. He's not going to be in the bottom three.
Yeah, safe. Don't you worry.
Safe. So, I mean, he would be. So they would immediately declare him safe almost every episode. So it seemed like over the last few weeks that they were just saying it was inevitable, so you might as well deal with it.
It felt like we were going through the motions, and fortunately, people came out and they texted and they called in and they made it happen for David Cook. Of course, we're going to be excited about it. He's going to be coming back and for the American Idol's live concerts. They're going to play one in Oklahoma City and one in Tulsa
at the new BOK Center,
which I think is fantastic. Now let's talk about these these results shows. You know, it's a long, hard slog. It's like and last night was like the baton death march of American Idol episodes because
it's like being smothered with a pillow of filler.
That's right. That's right. It was 99.5% filler. We had a parade of if not has been, then near has been
trying to make comebacks.
Pop stars who are trying to make comebacks, who haven't had a hit in a while, and this is a great opportunity for them to promote their new album. I mean, a lot of this stuff is like watching C-SPAN the music. You know, or trying to live blog C-SPAN the musical.
Yeah, it is.
It's and so you're waiting and we reach 8:57. I will never forget this because it's 8:57, and usually by that time we know who's coming back.
They're just certifying the votes last night.
That's right.
Just certifying it. It wasn't until like 9:04 that we finally had an American Idol.
Oh my gosh! And I was like, okay, so how far are they going to push the local news on this one? You know, because it's just American Idol.
Well, the Oscars don't mind pushing the local news.
But I will say that I'll say it again, that I couldn't have been more surprised and happy about this.
Right. Now, the one high point, I was also, besides the results, because I didn't think he had a chance. He didn't think he had a chance.
That's
if you
right.
looked at him, he couldn't believe he won. He
felt
kind of
like
had a little brother thing the whole night long, hugging Archuleta, going, "Your life's about to change, buddy."
That's right.
Kind of thing, and it's actually his life that's about to change. So
That's right.
He didn't think he had a shot. But I thought that besides that highlight of the winner, Carrie Underwood.
Absolutely.
She is the person that gives us hope that this process, whether you like it or not, actually works in creating stars, because she is, some people have said arguably, there's really not an argument there. No. She is by far the most successful American Idol that they've had. 11 million records, Grammys, ACM, CMT, CMA Awards, and she's already at 25 a member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah,
3 years into her career.
You know me. I'm not a country guy, but I watched Carrie, and first of all, she owned the stage. She looked beautiful. She sounded better than anybody who's been on the show this season.
And sounded better than she sounded last week. What is amazing to me is that she continues to get better and better and better. If you listen to her audition from American Idol, she sounds like a completely different performer now, but she sounds like a different performer than she sounded last week on the Grand Ole Opry. She gets better and better and better. She
is the absolute full package. It's what Nashville dreams of when they try to dream up their perfect, the perfect act. To keep country music moving forward, they think about somebody like Carrie Underwood. Well, okay, maybe it would have happened eventually. I'm glad it happened when it did.
Right.
So as far as American Idol is concerned, yeah, I have a lot of qualms with this show, but it did right. It got this woman into the spotlight, and we'll see. We'll see what happens if David Cook is able to to follow in those footsteps and truly progress. Hopefully, I think a lot of it will depend on how much freedom they give this guy.
What gave me hope that wouldn't happen, because that was my major concern, is that if he wins, they're just going to take him and they're going to just homogenize him. I mean, they're just going to turn him into turn him into their view of what a rocker ought to be, which is basically a pop star.
Right.
Yeah, and I was really concerned about that.
Daughtry is like once removed from Nickelback. Are they going to try to do that again?
Right.
If he had just been the runner-up, he would have accomplished everything he set out to do.
Right.
But this is just the cherry on top. He gets to say that he won the thing, and in a way, given some of the dodgy track record of this show. I mean, for every for every Carrie Underwood, there's a Taylor Hicks that just flames out.
Right.
But this is a guy who can say, at least from the rock perspective, he can say, I really came to this show and gave it credibility.
Right.
He has the potential for that.
And he made it rock whether they wanted to or not.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I think you've got to give him props for that.
Yeah. He's a guy who, when he was told to sing songs that might not have otherwise been, in his wheelhouse, he shoved them into his wheelhouse
Right.
and made them work. And I think that that's one thing that's really admirable about
Right.
his performances.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's all we have for today, and for more about movies, music, and everything else that's entertaining, check out the Weekend Look section of the Oklahoman, the A&E section of newsok.com, and the latest issue of Look at OKC. For Weekend Look, I'm George Lang.
I'm Brandy McDonnell.
See you next time.
Let's see it.